Hello, today is part 5 of reconditioning the 1973 Schwinn Collegiate men's 5-speed bicycle. And now it's time for reassembly. The chrome's clean, every chrome piece is clean. Now it's time for reassembly. And we'll start off with the crank here. Of course I polished this. Right here it has a little bit of chrome damage, but that's no big deal. You can't save them all. And what I'm going to do right now is flip the crank over so the race is facing out. Then I'm going to take one of my bearings, my crank bearings, and just put it over the crank part so it touches right here on the race. Then I take my crank arm and put it inside the bottom bracket hole right there. Gotta flip it around and just leave it hang like this. And the next step is greasing. Take our can of marine waterproof grease and open it. I'm running out, but it's enough to do this job. Take a dab of it and just like coat the inside of the race right there. Just go all the way around. Right there. So the race is evenly coated. Okay. Flip her over a little bit. Do the underside. It's kind of hard to hold the camera, but it's no big deal. Now we got the frame turned around, so now we could mount the other side. So let's put it together. Coat the inside of this race. Let me get my smock here to put over my pants, so my pants won't get all greasy. So yeah, we take our grease again and we coat the inside of the race like that, the same as before. I'm on the other side. Flip her under a little bit and do under. Alright, now it's time to put the bearing in. Put this grease aside there. And we take our other bearing right here and slip it down the crank arm and put it in the race. Then take our cup. Take our cup or mounting part here. Like I said, it's kind of hard to hold the camera. Now we tighten up our cup as soon as we get the thread started. There's these little grooves in here. You just flip them around. So that way when the cup gets seated, yep, now it's seated. Then we take our like spacer washer and slide it into the grooves right there. Then we take our lock our nut and slip it on the crank arm like this. And tighten it down. Just hand tighten it. Right there. Then take a crescent wrench and tighten up this nut here and spin the crank around so it spins freely, and make sure there's no play when you pull on the crank arms like this. Our crank assembly is in. It spins freely like this, and plus there's no play when you pull on the crank arms back and forth. No play. So that's excellent. The job went perfectly as planned. Now it's time to install the chain guard. And we got to get our chain guard here. And as you see here, I straightened out the chain. It was all tangled up and bound up, so yeah. Then we got to loosen this screw. Put them on the ground temporarily. And take our chain guard and mount it on the bike. Chain guard is on. Now it's time to mount the fenders underneath that pile of junk right there. Since the back fender was really time consuming, I installed that one already. Now all we got to do is the front one. And we're going to need a 10mm socket to remove the brake off the fork here, and we'll flip the handlebars around like this. We'll tip her over, and here's the bolt right there, and then take the socket wrench and just loosen it up and take the nut off. Our nut is off. Now we could remove the fender. Just take the fender off like this, and voila, throw it in the junk pile. Down in between the brake like I'm doing. Then slip it over the mounting stud for the brake, and just take our nut and just screw it on. Take our socket wrench and tighten it up. The front wheel nuts and washers are off. We'll set them on the ground here. Now we can install the front wheel. Take the front wheel, slip it in the fork grooves like that. And take our fender, take the spacers, these little spacers, you know, this centers your wheel and the fork, so yeah, slip those on. Install our fender brackets right there, and install the washers over the fender mounts. Install our nuts. Install the other side too.